I think we might actually be live. We got a camera. Camera 1, check. And then camera 2, check. I'm not sure if we're going to use camera 3, check. Hopefully we are. So, hey, we're gearing up. We got Charles in the booth. Everybody good to go? We ready to rock and roll this morning, guys?
Yes, sir.
Give me a thumbs up. Here we go. Wow, we are live. We actually have people on. 11 live stream viewers right now. Good morning, folks. My name is Mike Seaclander. 18 people on already. Wow, some people got the notification on Facebook. Hey, do me a favor and give me a sound check and a video check like always. We replaced our lav mic, so I'm actually lav mic'd up for the first time on a live stream for you. So let me know if my sound is good and my video is good. Type in the comments 5x5, Mike, you're good to go, or whatever else. And by the way, if you're, my normal viewers, please do me a favor and start clicking that share button. I know IDPA was in the house earlier this morning, but they can't be on to share. So if some of you would share that as well. Looks like we have Mr. Will Rhodes is on. Steve, good morning. Says sound and audio is good. Ted is on. Good morning. Ken, Don, Allen is on. Man, there's a bunch of coin members on. John Dalton, number 546. Greg Knox, good morning. How are you? Frank Wood. Tina, good morning, Tina. How are you? I love how I always pronounce your name properly at this point in time. Do me a favor if you're jumping on. If you're a coin member, one of my American Warrior Society coin members, type in your coin number. I always love to see the coin numbers. If you're ACSS as well, awesome. If you are a LiveFire user and LiveFire member, please let me know that as well. And if you are on LiveFire, by the way, and you haven't followed me or sent me a message, do that. Please do that. If you don't know that, we are doing our third week of weekly programming. I have a series of systematic drills that I'm publishing each week, and every one of them is both a drill and a test. And trust me, there is much more behind the curtain in these systematic drills than just firearms training drills. Okay, so please, if you're not a member of LiveFire, check it out. If you're watching this later on from someone that shared it, do a free trial. There's going to be a QR code that we're going to show you, or whatever else. Good morning for those 33 live viewers that are on right now. Don't forget, if you click the like button on Facebook, Facebook says, hey, someone likes this, so we're going to show this to someone else. So please click the like button if you get a chance, or the share button. Today I'm Mike Seaclander, I'm your tour guide, and we're going to be talking all about defensive handgun, gun selection, gear selection. We'll have a little talk about gear. We're going to talk about optics today, iron sights versus optics. Now, we do have a show sponsor. I wanted to show you a Coolfire trainer. By the way, we just had our Coolfire partners in the LiveFire studio recently. I have been sponsored by Coolfire for a while. My American Warrior Show podcast has been sponsored by them. And if you check out this beautiful Wilson Combat Beretta 92G. By the way, I am sponsored by Wilson Combat, full disclosure. So if I'm talking about beautiful Wilson Combat guns, hey, they're my sponsor. Bear with me. They are awesome guns. But if you notice in this 92G, I've got a kind of unique looking barrel. It's got some silver on it. It's got some red on it. And this particular gun was a LiveFire firearm that I converted to a safe Coolfire training firearm. So I took my barrel out. I took my recoil spring out. I put the Coolfire fire barrel in and the recoil spring, and we put some compressed CO2 in it. Now, guess what? When I dry fire, I get felt recoil. So when I'm looking at multiple shot drills, I can use the Coolfire trainer. So this particular live stream is sponsored by Coolfire Trainer. If you haven't checked them out, you got to give them a check out. They're going to be one of our big partners here in the studio. I will be using a Coolfire trainer for a bunch of different drills. Of course, as always, we never do any live stream without a safety briefing first, so all safety rules apply. If you're going to handle your firearm, if you're going to dry fire along with me, if you're going to get into the discussion and do anything that might cause you danger, please make sure you abide by all safety rules. Do me a favor, no loaded firearms. So get rid of your loaded firearm or your carry firearm if you plan to handle it. Unload it right now, put it in a safe area. If you are going to dry fire, please comply with all dry fire safety rules. Make sure you have a safe backstop and beyond, and all other safety rules apply. Finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot, muzzle direction, et cetera, et cetera. If you're not willing to comply by the safety rules, and I know you probably are, please, you got to leave the live stream. You got to go watch basket weaving or something else. I know that's not the case, so please follow all the safety rules. Looks like we have 48 live viewers right now. Good morning. I am in the LiveFire studio. It's beautiful. I actually have a small piece of tape that I'm staying on right now, so if I get a little off to the left or off to the right, forgive me, because I'm kind of excited about this. I really want to walk all the way up to you on the camera right now and just say hello, but I know I'll be out of focus because it's actually a professional level camera, which is pretty darn impressive. Okay. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about defensive handgun, gun selection, and setup. And by the way, in today's live stream, I've got some comments over here on my TV. I've got a TV that has some of your comments. Some of your comments, as I'm speaking to the camera, may go unseen by me. So do me a favor, if you have a great question and I solicit questions and you ask something and I didn't see your question and you want to ask it again, just copy and paste it. Put it right back in the comments. And also do me a favor, when you're asking questions, please take a second and wait till I solicit questions, because then I'll look from you to the comments and I'll be able to read those. Like, who else do we have on this morning? Cody J. Autry from Arkansas. Good morning. Hey, Rich Alloway. Nice to see you again, man. Tony, good morning, sir. How are you? Lucas Klazek from Poland. We have Poland in the house. I love it. Tiffany Lee from Beaufort, South Carolina. I love South Carolina. I'm coming to South Carolina this next week. Chris, good morning. How are you? Michelle, good morning. How are you? How are y'all doing? David H., I see you on as well. Kip is on. Good morning. John Shriver from Oklahoma. Coin number 1919. I wonder what the lowest coin number we have on this morning is. Patricia, good morning. Akeen, I have not seen you for a long time, my friend. Nice to see you as well. So awesome. All right, dudes and dudettes, let's get this on. So let's talk about defensive handgun selection. And the first question I want to pose to you and enter the response that you have in the comments is, your defensive handgun, should it be a striker fired system? Or should it be a single action fired system? Or maybe a double action first shot or a double action only firing system? Because understand that when I talk about a striker fired system, if you're new to this and you're watching this later on, you know, a striker fired system, and this is going to be your Glocks, your SIG variants, your M&Ps, they're all a striker type system. There's a striker, which is of course the firing pin inside of the slide. And that striker, if the slide has been cocked, is slightly tensioned, right? So that striker is under some spring pressure right now. When I pull the trigger, that continually moves the striker to the rear and then releases the striker and it fires a shot. That's the general basic design of a striker fired system. A single action system, right? Like this is a Wilson Combat SFX9. This is a smaller version. This is one that they put in RMR. This is probably going to be one of my future carry guns, or my future carry gun. Of course, is a single action system, so it's designed to be carried cocked and locked, right? So the hammer's to the rear, the safety is on. It's a single action trigger like the original 1911 style design. It's got a much lighter trigger, but it has a manual safety. If I contrast that, and by the way, this is the EDC or X9 variant with Wilson Combat, so it doesn't actually have a grip safety anymore. So let me contrast that real quickly, and then we'll see what your answer is. With a standard 1911, now this is a compact CQB made by Wilson Combat as well, but this is a standard 1911 system that has both a grip safety and a thumb safety, right? So I've got a grip safety that I deactivate when I'm actually gripping the handgun, and then I've got a thumb safety that I can turn on and off as well. So the question for you was, should we be carrying a single action gun, or should we be carrying something that's striker fired, right? Or should we be carrying maybe a double action system? And here's my answer for you. My answer for you, like many questions, is it depends. Where do you carry? How do you carry? For me, I carry in the appendix position. That means if you're at 12 o'clock, I'm carrying my firearm in an inside the waistband holster, one designed by Precision Holsters, in the 2 o'clock position. Some of you may carry strong side. And the school of thought out there is in the appendix position. Is it wrong, for example, to carry a striker fired handgun in the appendix position? And no, it's not wrong. I know a lot of very high level individuals in the military and that are operational as well as the government that carry in the appendix position. I know a lot of very, very good civilian shooters that carry a striker fired system in the appendix position. It is simply not my preference because I carry appendix. Because remember, I've got a slightly tensioned striker in the firearm, and there's no manual safety. Now, in this particular case, there is a trigger safety, there is an internal safety, right? But there's no manual safety. Just remember that. My personal preference, and I actually have my carry gun here, is a 1911 style system, and I will carry that in a position where I have the manual safety on, and I have an additional safety because of where I carry. So really, for me, it depends on where you carry, right? And it really depends on your preference as well. Let me tie one more thing to that. If you are competing, if you're competing with a 1911, right? So you're looking at Mike Seaclander, by the way. Hey, just join us. We have 58 live viewers. Okay, come on. I'm going to pause for a second. 58 live viewers is pretty impressive. But I want to hit 100 today in our first live stream. Do me a favor, all 58 of you, please, I'm saying pretty please, click the share button. Yeah, share. And then I'm going to answer some of your questions. I see some comments as well. Click share, and we're going to see that number go up to maybe 150, maybe 300. Who knows? By the way, if you're just watching me, joining me, my name is Mike Seaclander. We're talking about defensive handgun selection as well as gear. The question I posed is, what system should we carry? Striker fired, 1911, double action. Let's see what I have as far as comments. Michelle says, whatever you are accurate with and trained with. I love that answer, by the way. You carry a striker fired pistol, but you love your 1911s. Ken says, multiple carry guns plus, depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing. I kind of like that as well. Your personal preference is a SIG 226. I'm down with that. That's pretty good. Oh, Doug Grigg is on. Good morning, Doug. How are you? You generally carry striker fired, but have training with a double single action hammer lately. I like that as well. By the way, I see you jumping on, Ryan Nelson. Good morning. Good morning. Brian, what system do you consider the HEK LEM trigger to be? That's a great question. The LEM trigger, I don't know. Is that a striker fired trigger? That might be a striker fired trigger. Probably in the striker fired area-ish or whatever else, right? I'm not sure. Good morning. Sarah Z, you shared to gunslinging mamas. We have gunslinging mamas in the house. I love that, gunslinging mamas. Okay, so here's the deal. The real answer is it depends. And I'm going to tie this in with one key point for you. And this is a very specific Mike Seaclander point, but I think that you will understand and I'll be able to apply it as well. So if you shoot and you like to compete, I like to compete. I'll raise my hand, right? I've been shooting USPSA and IDPA for years. I have on my LiveFire app, my phone's in my back pocket, I won't get it out. I have documented almost 80,000 rounds, right, in the last 2 years. So any given year, I'm practicing 30 to 50,000 rounds, and I'm probably over the last several years, because I've been shooting for Wilson Combat, shooting in competition a 1911 style system. Probably a single sack 1911 style system. I'm not saying this is the only gun I shoot, but that is generally what I've been running, right? So given that, if I practice continually with a full-size 1911 system, here's my tip of the day for you. If you're practicing all the time with your competition 1911, why not carry a 1911 as well, which is exactly what my carry gun somewhere right here on the table. I'm not even sure where, oh, there it is in the holster. My carry gun right now is a single action 1911. Now, I could very easily switch to my SF X9, a little bit higher capacity with an optic on it. I have vetted this gun. It has met the requirements for carry, and I may be carrying in the long run, but that's why I'm carrying what I'm carrying right now. So let's talk about what really matters in terms of a defensive handgun, and I'll get to some of your questions as well. Some of you need to understand that there are a variety of handguns that might work for you, right? But I always talk about, and I talk about this in my defensive handgun book, the REAP test. And I know some of you that have been watching me for years and have read my book know what I'm talking about. So REAP stands for reliability, ergonomics, accuracy, and power. Those are the 4 things that your defensive handgun must meet in order. So number 1, your gun, your defensive handgun has to be reliable. You have to be able to take that firearm with serviceable ammo and good magazines out of the box. And if you can't shoot it, if you can't go to the range and shoot 1,000 rounds without a failure, there's an issue. It has to be reliable. If you pull your gun out in a situation where you're trying to defend your family and it goes click instead of bang and you got a clear malfunction or whatever else, that's not going to work. So number 1, it has to be reliable. E, right? REAP stands for R-E-A-P, ergonomics. So can I reach the mag release? Can I manipulate the safety? And I'll give you a little war story one time. I had a student in class a long time ago in South Carolina. By the way, I know some of you are from South Carolina watching right now. And this particular student was doing a drill, and they were extending the handgun, and they weren't shooting. Now, this is a drill where we're supposed to be shooting, right? They're supposed to be aiming the gun, firing a shot, aiming the gun, firing a shot. And they were not shooting. And I walked up to the student. I said, hey, student, why are you not shooting? And the answer was, because I can't manipulate the safety. Think about that for a second. I said, well, why can't you manipulate the safety? Well, I have arthritis in my thumb. I said, well, why did you select a handgun that has a manual safety that's very difficult to manipulate? Because the guy at the gun store told me to buy this gun. Think about that for a second. So ergonomics have to be such that you can reach and manipulate the controls. Does it fit in your hand? Can you do the things that are necessary with a defensive handgun? Think about that for a second. If you can't, then the ergonomics are not good for you, okay? So let's talk real quickly about the other two, accuracy and power. Here's a question for you, and I want you to type it in the comments as an answer. By the way, we have 62 on. We haven't met my goal of 100, but we will. Just keep hitting like a couple times. Maybe Facebook will stop throttling me back and actually show us to millions of live viewers right now. So here's a question for you. How accurate does a defensive handgun have to be? How accurate does it have to be? Does it have to shoot a 1-inch group at 25 yards, like maybe guaranteed from some custom gun makers, right? Like Wilson Combat. I don't think we actually guarantee a 1-inch. It might be 2 inches. Does it have to shoot 3 inches at 25 yards? How accurate does it have to be? Type in your comments. I'll pause for a second, let you answer. Let's see what we have. And by the way, I see, hey, Mr. Will Parker, Montana number 800. Thank you. We love the LiveFire studio as well. Jesse, I like your answer, by the way. Perfect gun for me doesn't mean perfect for you. Patricia, Cutler, acceptable? Does that mean the accuracy level has to be acceptable? Well, here's my second question for you is, what is acceptable? Hey, Sheila McKinney, good morning. I'm waving back at you. How are you? How are you? 4 to 6 inches. Wade, Mr. Wade Peterson from North Carolina. 4 to 6 inches. Hey, good morning, Steve Biddle. How are you? Let's see what we have here. I see coin number, what is that? Oh, number 800's on. Oh, number 2404. 4 to 6 inches. Patricia does the job. Okay, here's the deal. The reality is every major manufacturer, if you take their handgun, I think everyone, maybe except for, maybe I suppose you could pick the biggest junk gun out there. And I don't know what the biggest junk gun would be. Every one of these manufacturers probably has a compact handgun that will shoot 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches at probably 20 to 25 yards almost, with the right ammo, right? Think about this. So the real answer is, if we're trying to defend ourselves, we're trying to hit a, give or take 6 to 8 inch circle, high center chest, or maybe a 3-inch circle to the head. So let's take the extreme of those two cases. Let's take the 3-inch shot if you had to defend yourself and shoot someone in the head, because that's all you can see. I know it sounds nasty, but it's the subject we're talking about. So if your gun will shoot 3 inches, right, at 20 to 25 yards, it's more than acceptable enough. Because think about this. When will you engage at 20 to 25 yards? And I know you're going to reference the mall shooting or whatever else recently happened. I got it. But the reality is most manufactured handguns are plenty accurate, right? They will shoot better than most of you can shoot. Last but not least, power. Let's talk about power. Everything on the table is a 9mm. Does that mean I don't like 40 or I don't like 45? No, I'm not saying that. 9mm happens to be the cheapest, most affordable ammo I can train with. The ballistics and some of the new 9mm loads out there, right? For example, when the FBI tested them, they're comparable to 45 ACP. Now, I'm not saying bigger is not necessarily better, but here's my rule on power. You should carry the caliber that's as big and as powerful that you can conceal, that you will carry every day, and that you will practice with. What you're going to find if you do your research is shot placement is much more important, right, than caliber. for example. Okay. All right. We have, man, 66 live viewers on. That's a lot of live viewers. I love that, right? Let's see what I have here. I got a lot of good answers there. Of course, it has to be accurate. Good morning, Gilly. Good morning. Who else do we have on here? Tiffany. Good morning. Power. You get a lot of slack for having a 22. Tiffany, I will tell you that when I hear folks carrying a 22 or a 380, if that's what you will carry on a daily basis, okay, that's acceptable. But understand, when we dip below a 9mm, most 380, most 32 ACP, or any other small caliber variant is going to have difficulty penetrating to the depth necessary to be a good defensive handgun caliber. Now, I will tell you, there are probably more people that are killed with 22s each year than anything else, mainly because of safety-related issues. And I'm not saying it's a good carry caliber, but you know what? If the 22 or 22 Magnum is what you will carry or can carry that moment in time, well, then that's okay. But the smaller the caliber, and here's your one rule before we move on and start talking about optics, is shot placement. So the smaller, less powerful round you carry, the better your shot placement has to be. Okay, so let's talk. Before I get into optics, I want to talk about one thing real quick, and this is a great example. This is actually a Glock 19 Gen 5 that I just had Wilson Combat gin up for me and do the grips and stuff like that on it. And this particular trigger is probably one of the better Glock triggers I have on guns, right? That's probably about 2.5 pounds, maybe 2 3/4 pounds. They did a great job on the trigger. You might look at this and say this is a competition type trigger. So here's a question for you. Type your answer in the comments. Is a competition trigger bad on a carry gun? There's your question. Is a competition trigger like this pretty light? That's really a good trigger. I kind of like that. I actually bought a new trigger recently that's as good as that, if not better, but that's pretty impressive. Is a competition trigger bad on a carry gun? Tony says yes, right? Hey, Chris Harvey, good morning. I see you, man. The studio does look sweet, by the way. See what else I get as far as answering. And by the way, Donald says no. Not bad if you train with it. Frank says not bad. Sarah says yes, because it's too easy to go off. Akeen says not if you train with it. Doug Grigg says a competition trigger is fine on a carry gun. Rich says depends if you can defend if you modify. Okay, so here's the deal. And Tony is saying that's Bronca's advice, right? So here's the deal. When I wrote my defensive handgun training program book a long time ago, I had a chapter in there that referenced competition type triggers and how they may lead to liability in court. I had several experts contact me after that says not necessarily is that going to lead to a problem in court. But here's the deal. Here's my spiel on competition triggers. If you're carrying what I would deem as a competition type trigger, let's say it's lighter than factory. Is that wrong? I would not say it's wrong. If, however, you buy that trigger and in the catalog it says super light competition, high speed, low drag, awesome light trigger, I may not want that in the advertising to be disclosed in court that I might have selected a gun that has a super light, much easier to shoot people and kill people with trigger in it. The main point I have, though, is a competition trigger in most guns is a different design than the factory trigger installed. And here's what most major gun manufacturers want to do. They want to have firearms that are as reliable as possible. So you know what they do with the trigger? With the trigger springs and weights? They put a trigger in the gun that is as reliable as it can possibly be with a variety of ammo and a variety of shooters. Now, does that mean Mike Seacleaner is saying you can't clean up your trigger or have a slightly better trigger? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we got to weigh the pros and the cons. Now, my actual carry gun trigger, and this is my actual carry gun right here. I actually left it in the carry holster. This particular trigger is a 1911 trigger, right? So it's a single action trigger, but it's not one of the 1911 triggers that you might find in my single stack 9mm competition handgun, which would probably weigh in at a little over 2 pounds. This is probably going to be 3.5 pounds. It's got a robust reset spring weight on it, right? It's got not a heavy trigger, but a heavier trigger, but it's inherently very reliable. This also has an external extractor, which I chose as well. So I would be cautious of modifying or selecting things on a handgun that could inherently decrease their reliability, number one, or cause you any problems with some sort of court-related issue if you defend yourself. Ultimately, though, you will be judged on the facts and circumstances based on why you defended yourself, okay? Let's talk about optics real quick. I want to show you a couple different optics, right? 2 Glock 19s, right? I have an optic on the left gun and an optic on the right gun. So let's talk about optic selection. First of all, should you have an optic on your defensive handgun? You could type your response in the comments if you want, because it's a big question, because this seems to be the way handguns are going these days. By the way, if I looked at the number of folks in my classes that are carrying or competing with an optic, it's exponentially higher than it was 2 years ago. And I think in another 2 or 3 years, you're going to see pretty much across the board, most handguns are sighted with some sort of reliable optic. And here's the deal. That's the key word. Optics, this is actually the Holosun EPS carry. I've got Delta points over here. I've got a Trijicon RMR over here. I've got a Trijicon SRO right there. Optics have become or hit the point where now they are inherently reliable, right? They are very close to being 100% reliable, although I tell you, no mechanical device is 100% reliable. So should you carry a carry gun with an optic on it, right? Let's see what we have in the comments, by the way. Brian, I choose not to carry a 3-pounder or less trigger. I like that. We're still talking about triggers there. Frank used the Glock Performance trigger, 3.5, made by the manufacturer. I kind of like that. If that's the new trigger, I think that's lighter than 3.5 though, man, because I actually need to get one of those triggers. I was pretty impressed with one of those when I did them the other day. Michelle says, I can't see the sights anymore, so optics are huge for me, right? Donald says, I left the optics off your pistol, so we'll have to figure out why that is, Donald, right? Patricia, can't read that comment. Let's see what we got from Patricia. Is that how you train? Oh, once again, I like the answers I'm getting today. If you train with a gun, or if you train with a system, or if you train with an optic, it's probably okay. So here's the answer for me. If you can't see the front, let's break this down real quick. If Mike Seeklander can't clearly see the front sight anymore when I'm shooting, so I'm engaging, I need to defend myself, but I can't clearly see the front sight, I am going to tell you, I cannot clearly see the front sight right now, right? I can't see it. Can I still align the handgun? Can I still verify enough alignment in a defensive handgun distance engagement to fire a good shot? And the answer is yes. Absolutely, positively yes, in most cases. Now, if I'm in the mall and there's a dude that's 30 yards away and I have to hit that shot because I can't get any closer, that's actually a real life situation. It happened not that long ago. What does that require? Well, it requires a significant amount of alignment and shooting skill. Because then my visual focus has changed, I can't focus on the front sight in order to determine if it's in the rear sight notch where it should be, then that might be an issue. So I might choose to carry a handgun with an optic on it. But here's the deal. I think what I'm seeing recently is shooters are grabbing these guns and they're putting an optic on it and they're like, oh, that's really cool. Look at that dot. I really like that dot. And then they don't play with the optic. They don't present it with their strong hand. They don't present it with their support hand. They don't shoot it a lot with two hands. They don't dry fire. They don't put the time in. And then they get under a little bit of stress, like in my defensive handgun class, we'll put them under a timer or do some sort of man-on-man or man-on-woman shoot-off, and they go, they're doing the dot lasso. They're like, I can't find my dot, Mike. Where's my dot? I can't find my dot, because they simply haven't done the work. They haven't done the practice to find the dot in the optic every single time. So here's the answer. If you need to go to an optic to see something to align the handgun, right, which is very rare in most defensive handgun distances, because you can align the sights even though they're blurry, then you need to train with that optic. You need to have a set of backup iron sights, right? And you need to maintain the optic. Not only that, you need to select a good optic. I actually had a good friend of mine that had a carry gun with an optic on it that was like some off-rate brand piece of crap. And when I picked the handgun up to check it out, I took the gun out of the holster and said, let me check your optic out. It was off. The dot was turned off. The battery had died. I'm like, hey, man, that's an issue, right? So if you're not willing to go through the steps to actually train with an optic, my recommendation is no. Now, here's the second question for you. Should we be carrying a closed emitter or an open emitter, and how big should dot size be? This is what we call a closed emitter. So if you're watching me on the live stream right now, there's a window in the back of the optic, and there's a window in the front of the optic, right? So this is a closed emitter. That means the emitter is projecting the dot up to the glass inside there, but water and dust and dirt won't get inside the optic. This is the Holosun EPS, seems to be a very robust optic, right? This is an open emitter. So this open emitter carried in a holster, specifically an outside the waistband holster where the muzzle is down, may collect water if it's raining. It may collect snowflakes if you live in Montana. Just talked to a guy the other day. Jared was on one of my Q&As, and he's talking about, hey, in Montana, with the weather, and you got trees and brush and snow and rain and all these ice and stuff like that, an open emitter may be an issue, because if water gets in and blocks the emitter, right, then you have no dot, or you have a start out dot, right? So be aware of that, okay? So closed emitter is probably my choice in general, if it's light enough and robust enough to work all the time. Okay, let me see what kind of questions, comments I have on. We got a lot of people on right now. 68, did we hit 100? Man, folks, I really wanted to hit 100. Maybe click a share button again, I don't know. Someone put it on some super big Facebook page like the Glock page, or that has 1 million members, or put it on my Training Addicts page.
By the way, Mike, for the people who are just on here on the live, in the corner we have a QR code so you can get connected with us on LiveFire and the app. Ooh. So go ahead and click that QR code, guys, so you can stay connected with us on lives and new content that comes out.
Hey, folks, if you haven't heard the voice, that's Charles in the booth. He keeps me in line. He's running the cameras. He's running the sound. He's running the lights. The things that we could do in the studio are pretty darn fantastic. Check out the QR code if you are on LiveFire. Make sure you send me a message. Give me a follow. If you get on today, send me a message and say, Mike, saw it on Facebook. So check that out. By the way, LiveFire is about to go to the next level. I can't tell you all of the details, but there is about to be some new features added to LiveFire, the already robust LiveFire, that will blow you away. So scan the QR code and give it a check out, okay? All right, so let me look at questions and comments here in a second, and then we're gonna talk very, very quickly about holsters, and then I'll open it up for Q&A, and man, I've been talking for 38 minutes, by the way. I would like you to do me a favor and type in the comments, while those of you that are scanning the QR code, please, it's Tuesday morning at 7:30. That's different than our normal Wednesday morning live stream. Please let me know if you like the AMs and if you like Tuesday. Would you rather do it on a PM and a different day? Because the more of you that we can get in one place, the better it is for you, the better it is for me. So please give me some comments on what day you pick a day and pick a time. So what's your favorite day, and pick your favorite time? Early morning like this, somewhat early morning, or late afternoon, okay? And we will check that out. So if you guys want to throw comments back up there. So I want to talk to you really quickly about a couple more things, and then we're going to get into our Q&A. And by the way, who else do we have on here this morning? I can't see comments right now. Oh, looks like we're doing some, there it is. There's my chat right there. That's the only difference I have, is I can't scroll back and forth on chats. Don Bosworth, I didn't see that. Don said something about cross dominance. Scroll up on the comments. I want to read Don's comments. So go back up on the comments if you would, please. Don said something about cross dominance. Keep on going up. Keep on going up. Up, 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 up. You guys go up on the comments? Okay, we found a limitation of our system here, right? There we go. Up, up, up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It was interesting. I want to talk about cross dominance. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. Man, so there it is right there. With cross dominant vision, stop right there. I have discovered that an optic allows me to line the sight on target. Okay, I'm buying that. I will tell you though, Don, I saw that comment and I wanted to answer that. Here's the deal. We'll do an aimed in on the camera. Tell me what dominant eye I am at the camera. Left eye dominant. So I'm cross dominant as well. Understand that your dominant vision is simply the eye target line that you're going to put the handgun on. If I'm right eye dominant, the eye target line will be from my right eye. If I'm left eye dominant, the eye target line will be on my left eye. So that is simply the line that I'm going to put the sights on. And understand, it's a different in gun. It's a difference in gun position. That's the only thing that makes any difference. But if you can, because with cross dominance, maintain target focus. And that's the whole deal with an optic, right? The entire purpose of the optic is single focal plane sighted system. So I look at the target when I actually aim it. I don't look back at the dot. I don't have to look at the front or rear sight anymore. And I don't have to look at three focal things and understand the relationship of those three. I look at one thing, the target. And for defensive handgunning type situations, maybe smarter if you're willing to put the time in, okay? So I want to talk real quickly. This is one of my carry holsters, right? Another variant here. This is actually for the Glock, small mini Glock on the table that I have here. This is the Ultra Appendix inside the waistband holster made by Precision Holsters. They are one of my sponsors. There are many good holster manufacturers out there. I personally know the owner of Tier 1. He's an alumni. Great company. Great holsters. This is my sponsor holster, but I wanted to talk to you briefly about selecting a holster and carrying that gun in the right position in the right manner. So my carry system starts with my belt, right? So this is my Precision Holsters belt. This particular belt is made out of, it's kind of a web design that has some maybe plastic inside of it that makes it a little thicker and stiffer in terms of the belt stiffness itself, but it's very robust and very strong. I can take my belt off, I can wrap it around a pull-up bar, and I can hang my body weight from the belt. So there's rule number one for you, is select a belt that will keep your holster from moving or pivoting, and that is very strong if someone's grabbing your handgun and you're trying to keep the gun in the holster, right? Number two, select a holster that's designed for the carry position that you've chosen. So if you carry in the appendix position, the angle, let me show you this with a different gun here, my little Glock. The angle of an appendix holster in this spot is such that the handgun is slightly angled backward with a muzzle direction like this, which allows me to sweep my garment and grip without shifting my shoulder or breaking my shoulder. And the reason I say that, and the reason I bring this up is because oftentimes I see individuals carrying in the appendix position because they thought it was the place to carry with a strong side holster. Now, if you look at the gun angle on my belt now, right, and I switch to a gun angle that's a strong side carry, now the gun angle is muzzle direction backward, because when I reach for the handgun, I'm going to be reaching like this, right? But if the muzzle direction stayed the same for appendix, I would have to try to reach up and build the grip like this. So understand that you need to select a holster that is designed for the place you carry. So features of an appendix holster, whatever company you're shopping, whether it's Precision Holsters or Tier 1 or whatever else is out there. This particular holster has a design where it has additional material here, which is pushing the gun into my body. It has additional material on the front of the holster on this clip. So the holster pushes the gun into my body this way, and it pushes the gun into my body this way, which makes it more concealable. It also has very, very strong and robust clips. Like, to get this holster on my belt, I have to work a little bit. I have to actually kind of shove it down there and get the clips on there. That's a good thing because now the holster is truly stuck on my belt, right? I don't want to have the holster and the gun coming off my belt if someone grabs it. So as you can see, it's difficult to get off. It has very robust clips on it, okay? And then it has tension screws that allow me to adjust. Now, some of you may be carrying in a system that has a true retention snap or a button or whatever else. ALS, SLS, GLS made by Safariland. That's all fine, but your holster should be designed for the position you carry. Now, my full system is my carry gun in my holster. I've got a second 10-round magazine on my person at any point in time, right? And of course, I would be loaded with 10 total rounds in the gun. So I'm carrying 20 rounds of defensive ammo on me. You know, I'm carrying the standard stuff like my flashlight. I got my Surefire stiletto. Sorry for flashing you there. I've got a automatic knife in my off pocket, and sometimes I carry a second knife in a back pocket, but that's my true carry system. But don't forget, your carry system starts with the belt, okay? All right, so let me see if I have anything on my notes. I actually had notes today. How organized am I on this incredible live stream? I don't think I have it here. Oh, no junk, holsters, no junk. I have seen, my rule is if you show up to my class and you have a junk holster and it comes off your belt or whatever else, right? I'm going to tell you to take that holster and throw it over the berm. Get rid of it. It's not good, okay? All right, let me see what I have as far as comments, okay? Tiffany replying to Tina. Hello, Bob. Good morning. Coin number 2070. Okay, the bands are up all over on the belly band. So here's the deal, Tiffany. I am a fan of belly band type systems or holsters, and I actually have a holster to demo in the future that a company sent me, and I don't remember the model. I literally just got it. That I'm going to show off in the future. I'll bring it on the next live stream. Next Tuesday, by the way. Mark that in your calendar. But to answer your question, a belly band is fine. I carried in a belly band for a long, long time. I'm not a fan of just the Velcro on a belly band. I'm okay with having Velcro on a belly band, but I would like it to have some sort of robust snap as well. So if I'm close contact with someone and I'm rolling around the ground or something bad happens, because remember, we may be in a physical fight first, that belly band will pop off easily. So I want it secured in a better manner. I actually thought about designing my own belly band type system. Also, in your belly band, what I used to take my belly band, and I actually secured via additional Velcro and some sewing, I secured a plastic or Kydex type holster to the belly band that was very low profile. So I had the same feel on the belly band itself in terms of my draw process. But I don't have a problem with belly band, but I would like to make it as robust and as secure as possible. I actually carry sometimes in a sling bag. I have a Vertex sling bag that I meant to bring to this live stream and show off, and I forgot it at home. But there's nothing wrong with off-body carry. I know, was it Pistol Packing Mamas or whoever, the girl with the guns? We've got a bunch of female organizations on. I know some of you may have to carry off-body in a belly band, in a fanny type pack, or maybe even a purpose-designed carry purse. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm the expert on carry purses because I'm not, but I will tell you there are some things you need to think about in those terms, such as maintaining control of it at all times, where the straps go, where the handgun goes in your purse. And by the way, ladies, if you're watching this and you're carrying a handgun in your purse and you just drop it in there and hoping that the handgun rattling around somewhere doesn't go off, maybe because it bumps your, whatever, lipstick, whatever else is in your purse, that's not a good way to carry, right? We want a consistent carry position that allows us to access the firearm quickly and secure it as much as possible, okay?
Mike, are you trying to tell me you don't carry a fanny pack?
You know what? Here's the deal. Full disclosure, I carried, when I was a police officer and I was off duty, I had some stylish fanny packs, right? And he called me out on it.
I had definitely tie-dyed. I know it was.
I had some stylish fanny pack. I had a tie-dyed shirt on. I actually had one of the cool-looking nylon fanny packs, and later I moved up to a multi-pocket leather fanny pack, and it was pretty stylish, I have to admit. I would probably carry it.
Take it back. I'm sorry, man.
That's okay. That's all right. That's what we have, man. That's what we have at the control booth. So they can call me out, and I'd like to say back in the day when I carried a fanny pack, I had hair too, but I did not have hair back then. I think it was gone at that point in time. All right, we're going to close it out here in a second. Let me see what else I have on there. Anything else? I'm with All Girls and All Guns with Tina Ann. Good morning. And let's see, Jack, you're left-handed, right eye dominant. We talked about Jack. By the way, Jack Neat, I see you on LiveFire. Jack is a LiveFire member, and he's been doing his work, dry fire, live fire drills, and logging his results on LiveFire. Sorry, some of us are doing the work. By the way, we have a social feed on LiveFire, which is second to none. Instead of getting on there and scrolling all that crap today on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm not opposed to Facebook. I should not say something. Sorry, Facebook, forgive me. I didn't mean to say something bad about you. Don't Mark Zuckerberg shut me down, please. We have 67 live viewers. We probably hit almost 70 today. Let me see if I have anything else here. I don't think I have anything else as far as questions. All right, if you have any other questions, throw it up there right now. Any other comments, throw it up there. We still, once again, love to hear from you as far as day and time you would like this. Mark your calendars, because if I don't hear otherwise, next week on Tuesday morning, we're supposed to go live at 7:30 a.m. And oh, that's right, Gun Toting Mamas makes a great carrier purse. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I'll be showing off purses in the future. Maybe I need to get Michelle to come up here and or Tina to come up here and
I don't know,
teach
Mike. Maybe you
guns.
should switch it up a bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We're not going to do that. We'll see about that. So, all right. All right, I don't think see anything else. All right, back on track. Here, sometimes I get lost. That's why I have notes. That's what you all love about me. But guess what? Hey, it's a free live stream. You get what you paid for, right? Mike C. Kleiner lost again on the live stream. All right, next Tuesday, shout out to Wilson Combat. Of course, they provided all my guns and gear. Today's live stream was sponsored by a Cool Fire Trainer. One more time. And if you happen to carry a compact gun and you're wondering, do they make a Cool Fire Trainer for your firearm? They probably do. And no, I'm not shooting holes in the ceiling. That is the beauty of the Cool Fire Trainer. For all of you, by the way, all of the different groups out there, especially all of the well-armed women, all the female groups out there, a lot of you are doing great instructional segments. With individuals, maybe female shooters that are new to the shooting world. This is an incredible tool because it's completely safe. It allows you to operate the firearm exactly like it normally operates, and you can teach grip, trigger, sights, and everything else with the actual gun you or they carry, right? So Cool Fire Trainer is a fantastic, cool tool. I dry fire with mine and use mine on a regular basis, and they make them for almost everything out there. They have a bunch of new models that are coming out very, very shortly, so check them out. I think it's coolfiretrainer.com/ckleiner for my page. And they're one of our partners here at the LiveFire Studio. So, all right, folks, that's all I have. This was fun. This is my first ever live stream here in the studio. I appreciate you jumping on and watching me. As we kind of bumble through this and figure out camera angles and different positions, I promise I'll get better. But guess what? I'm not saying I look good, but this looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? You got to admit, this looks pretty darn good. And I'm hoping as you watch this later on the day, or some of you catch the replay or see this on Facebook, you take a look at LiveFire and realize something's changing, right? Things are changing, right? We've got a professional studio, and we'll be bringing you lots of professional content, folks. That's all I have.
For the people who didn't know, this is the MI6 Inner Sanctum.
MI6.
Mike wasn't going to say that, but right. I just feel like it's cool enough to tell people.
Hey, tell me, don't you love this sound, this voice coming out of it? It's like I've got a controller somewhere. It's like it's in my own mind. Maybe that's not a real voice. Maybe that's just what I'm hearing.
It's because I'm your conscience, Mike.
That's right. This is my conscience speaking. What does my conscience tells me today? It tells me I did a great job on the live stream. All right, folks. That's all I have today. Send us a comment or message if you want to. Do us a favor. Scan that QR code. We'll throw it back up there. Get on LiveFire. Message me next Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. Be there. Be square. And until then, train hard.